Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment that love is not just an emotion, but a garden, a living, breathing creation that flourishes when nurtured and withers when neglected. Success in relationships is not accidental. It is deliberate, intentional, and built upon the choices we make every single day. Just as wealth is not earned by wishful thinking, but by disciplined action, love does not thrive on luck or circumstance. It thrives on commitment, understanding, and growth. The truth is, the quality of your relationships determines the quality of your life. When you invest in connection, empathy, and authentic communication, you are not merely building a partnership. You are cultivating a legacy of love that stands the test of time. Tonight, we are going to explore the principles that turn ordinary relationships into extraordinary ones. Get ready, because what you learn here has the power to transform not only how you love, but how you live. When we talk about love, success in relationships, and the art of connection, too often we look outward. We wonder what the other person is doing, how they are acting, or whether they are meeting our expectations. But the first and perhaps the most profound truth about relationships is that they are a mirror. The quality of your relationship reflects the quality of your own personal growth. Think about it. Every argument, every moment of tension, every joy, every spark of intimacy is a reflection of what exists within you. Relationships don't exist in isolation. They are not little islands floating in the sea of life. They are ecosystems, alive with the energy, habits, and character of each individual. If you desire harmony, respect, and love from others, you must first cultivate these qualities within yourself. A relationship cannot rise higher than the level of personal development of its participants. This is not a theory. Let's explore one practical example. Imagine two people in a relationship. One is committed to personal growth. They read, reflect, and work on self-discipline, patience, and empathy. The other has neglected their own development, caught in the patterns of blame, resentment, and entitlement. Even if both love each other deeply, the relationship is bound to struggle. Why? Because growth attracts growth, while stagnation magnifies tension. Relationships thrive when both individuals bring maturity, responsibility, and self-awareness to the table. This brings us to a critical point. Relationships are not about changing the other person. Many people enter partnerships with the hope that love alone will transform their partner. But true transformation begins within you. When you focus on your own growth, your partner is naturally inspired to grow as well. Your personal development creates an environment that encourages mutual growth. You don't need to force it. You simply become a living example of what is possible, and that energy is contagious. Moreover, personal growth in relationships is deeply tied to self-respect. You cannot give what you do not possess. If you struggle with self-love, you will seek validation from others, creating a dynamic of dependence, frustration, and imbalance. But when you cultivate self-worth, integrity, and inner strength, you enter relationships from a place of abundance, not neediness. This shift alone can transform conflict into collaboration, misunderstandings into dialogue, and routine interactions into profound connection. Now let me remind you of one essential truth. Growth is not always comfortable. The path of self-improvement often challenges your habits, exposes your fears, and confronts your ego. But relationships are the perfect arena for this kind of growth. They act as a mirror, showing you exactly where you need to improve, where you fall short, and where you can rise higher. Every disagreement, every tension, every moment of jealousy or insecurity is a lesson disguised as discomfort. If you choose to learn from it rather than react, you elevate not only yourself, but your relationship. One of the most overlooked aspects of personal growth in relationships is the development of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand your own emotions, to regulate them effectively, and to empathize with the emotions of others. It is what allows you to listen deeply, respond thoughtfully, and maintain connection even in challenging moments. People with high emotional intelligence create relationships that are resilient, nurturing, and joyful. And the good news is emotional intelligence is not fixed. It can be developed, cultivated, and strengthened over time. The final piece of this keynote is accountability. Personal growth demands that you take full responsibility for your actions, your words, and your emotional state. When you stop blaming your partner, circumstances, or the past, you reclaim your power. You no longer see the relationship as a source of frustration, but as a canvas on which to paint your best self. Every act of kindness, patience, and understanding becomes a brushstroke in the masterpiece of your partnership. In conclusion, let this truth resonate deeply. Your relationships are the clearest reflection of your personal growth. The love you experience, the joy you feel, and the connection you share are directly tied to the quality of your character, your habits, and your mindset. If you wish to succeed in love, you must first succeed in yourself. Commit to growing, learning, and evolving every day. Seek to be the person your partner deserves, not because they demand it, but because you recognize the power and responsibility of your own transformation. Relationships, after all, are not simply about finding the right person. They are about becoming the right person. Step into that journey of growth with courage, consistency, and commitment, and watch as your relationships transform into the powerful, nurturing, and fulfilling partnerships they were always meant to be. Your love, your connection, your life, they all rise with you. When we talk about love, success in relationships, and the art of lasting connection, we often underestimate the power of words, both spoken and unspoken. Many believe that love is primarily an emotion, a feeling that can be felt silently without expression. But let me tell you this, feelings, no matter how profound, are useless until they are communicated. Communication is not just a skill. It is the lifeblood of every thriving relationship. Without it, connection falters, understanding fades, and love, no matter how deep, becomes invisible. Every great relationship begins with the ability to communicate, not just talking, but truly expressing your heart, your intentions, and your needs in a way that is heard and understood. Yet communication is often misunderstood. It is not about winning arguments, proving a point, or even being perfectly eloquent. Real communication is the bridge between two minds and two hearts. It is a deliberate act of sharing, listening, and understanding. It is about creating an atmosphere where both people feel safe, respected, and valued. Think about it this way. Words are seeds. The words you speak, the tone you use, the gestures you accompany them with, all of these are seeds that grow into the quality of your relationship. Harsh words, careless remarks, and criticisms plant seeds of resentment and doubt. Words spoken with empathy, clarity, and love plant seeds of trust, intimacy, and understanding. And just as a seed requires care, water, and sunlight to grow, communication requires attention, consistency, and sincerity to flourish. One of the most common mistakes in relationships is the assumption that our partner automatically knows how we feel or what we need. They do not. Human beings by nature are complex, and love alone does not make thoughts and emotions transparent. You must take the responsibility to communicate with clarity. When you assume, you create confusion. When you express, you create connection. Every small moment of honest communication builds trust, and trust is the soil in which the most resilient love grows. Listening, however, is equally critical. Many people focus so much on speaking their truth that they neglect the art of truly hearing the other person. Listening is more than hearing words. It is about understanding the meaning behind them. It is about feeling the emotions, sensing the intent, and responding with empathy. When you listen actively, you show your partner that they matter, that their feelings matter, and that their voice is valued. And when your partner feels heard, a profound connection emerges, one that words alone could never achieve. Now let's explore another key aspect, nonverbal communication. Body language, facial expressions, gestures, and even silence are all powerful conveyors of meaning. Often what is not said speaks louder than words. A gentle touch, a reassuring smile, a patient pause. These are forms of communication that strengthen intimacy and trust. Understanding and mastering nonverbal communication is an essential skill for anyone who seeks lasting connection. It allows you to convey love, support, and respect even when words are inadequate. Effective communication also requires timing and emotional awareness. Words spoken in anger, frustration, or impatience rarely produce understanding. They produce distance. There is a right time and a right way to express every thought and feeling. Part of emotional intelligence in relationships is recognizing the moment when your partner is ready to hear you and when your own heart is calm enough to express yourself constructively. Relationships thrive not just on honesty, but on thoughtful, timely, and compassionate honesty. Another often overlooked principle is the power of affirmation. People need to be reminded of their value, their worth, and their contribution to the relationship. Simple words of appreciation, encouragement, and gratitude are like sunlight for a growing garden. They nourish love, boost confidence, and strengthen the bond between two people. A relationship in which affirmation is absent becomes fragile, but a relationship in which encouragement flows freely becomes virtually unbreakable. Communication is also about aligning vision and expectations. Many conflicts arise not from a lack of love, but from a lack of clarity. If you do not communicate your desires, boundaries, and values, your partner cannot understand or meet them. If you fail to listen to theirs, misunderstandings multiply. Strong, honest communication clarifies expectations, reduces conflict, and fosters a sense of shared purpose. It allows two individuals to move in harmony rather than collision, to build a life together rather than drift apart. Perhaps the most profound truth about communication is this. It is not just a tool for resolving conflict or sharing thoughts. It is the very essence of emotional connection. Love cannot exist in silence for long. The heart craves understanding, and understanding comes from words, gestures, and intentional attention. To neglect communication is to neglect the very foundation of intimacy. To embrace it fully is to unlock a depth of connection that can sustain joy, resilience, and fulfillment through life's inevitable challenges. Let me leave you with this powerful thought. The quality of your words determines the quality of your relationships. Speak with clarity, listen with empathy, express with courage, and affirm with sincerity. Every conversation is an opportunity to deepen connection, build trust, and inspire love. Every silence is an invitation to reflect, to understand, and to prepare for your next intentional communication. Relationships are living entities, and communication is the heartbeat that keeps them alive. Remember, connection is not a gift given by chance. It is earned through the deliberate practice of communication. Those who master this skill do not merely maintain relationships, they elevate them. They turn ordinary partnerships into extraordinary unions. They transform love into a powerful force that uplifts, inspires, and endures. If you are committed to success in love, commit first to the art and discipline of communication. Speak, listen, observe, and respond with intention. Make every word count. Make every moment of attention a step toward understanding. When you do this consistently, you do more than maintain a relationship. You create a sanctuary of connection where love can flourish, grow, and reach its highest potential. Communication is not optional. It is essential. It is the cornerstone, the foundation, and the lifeblood of every meaningful relationship. And when you master it, you unlock the true power of love, understanding, intimacy, and connection that lasts a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, let us step into a truth that is often overlooked in the pursuit of lasting love. Relationships are not transactions. They are investments. And like any investment, the return you receive is proportional to the value, energy, and commitment you place into it. Emotional investment is the single most powerful currency in the economy of love. Without it, even the most promising relationships will falter. With it, even ordinary relationships can be transformed into extraordinary unions. What do I mean by emotional investment? It is the willingness to fully engage, to care deeply, to show up consistently, and to put your heart into every interaction. It is the act of committing your time, energy, and vulnerability to another person, knowing that love is not guaranteed, but the potential reward is immeasurable. To love in this way requires courage, for it opens you to risk of disappointment, conflict, and even heartbreak, but it also opens the door to the deepest, most fulfilling experiences life can offer. Think of your emotions as seeds in the garden of your relationship. If you only plant a few seeds, neglect them, or water them sparingly, you will get only a modest harvest. But if you generously, nurture consistently, and protect those seeds with patience and care, you will reap a bountiful harvest of trust, intimacy, and joy. Emotional investment works in the same way. The more you are willing to give of yourself, your attention, your understanding, your empathy, the greater the returns in love, connection, and fulfillment. Many people make the mistake of holding back their emotions. They fear vulnerability, they worry about being hurt, or they believe that love is something that just happens. But let me tell you this, love does not happen by accident. Love happens by design. It happens when you choose to invest consistently and intentionally in the emotional well-being of your partner and the health of your relationship. Every thoughtful word, every act of kindness, every moment of empathy is an investment that multiplies over time. Let us examine what emotional investment looks like in practical terms. It is listening without judgment, even when it is difficult to hear. It is offering support when your partner is struggling, even when it inconveniences you. It is celebrating their victories with genuine joy, even when they surpass you. It is being present, not physically alone, but mentally and emotionally engaged in every interaction. And it is doing all of this without keeping score, without expectation, and without reservation. This is the currency that builds a relationship that not only survives, but thrives. Consider this. The person who invests emotionally in a relationship creates a safe space for love to grow. Vulnerability begets vulnerability. Empathy inspires empathy. When you open your heart and show your partner that you are committed, not just in words, but in action, you invite them to do the same. The relationship becomes a shared journey of growth and intimacy. Emotional investment is the multiplier effect of love. The more you give, the more is returned, often in ways you cannot anticipate. Now, I want to address a common concern. What about the risk? What if your emotional investment is not reciprocated? What if you love deeply and your partner does not meet you in the same measure? Here is a truth that is often forgotten. The act of investing emotionally transforms you, regardless of the immediate outcome. You become a stronger, wiser, and more capable person. Your capacity for love expands. Your resilience deepens. And in doing so, you not only increase the likelihood of receiving love in return, but you also enrich your own life immeasurably. Love, after all, is as much about giving as it is about receiving. Emotional investment also demands patience and consistency. A single act of love or kindness is meaningful, but it does not build a lasting foundation. It is the repeated, consistent, and intentional investment of emotions over time that creates the depth and stability of long-term relationships. Relationships, like great achievements in life, are not the result of sporadic effort. They are the result of sustained, deliberate action. The rewards reap proportional to the effort, persistence, and devotion applied. Furthermore, emotional investment requires self-awareness. You cannot pour from an empty cup. To invest in your partner effectively, you must first invest in yourself, your emotional intelligence, your understanding, your ability to manage your own feelings. By cultivating inner balance, clarity, and empathy, you become a partner capable of giving generously without being depleted. Emotional investment is not about losing yourself. It is about expanding yourself and inviting your partner to grow alongside you. Another critical dimension of emotional investment is the willingness to face discomfort. Love is not always easy, and emotional investment often requires courage. It requires confronting conflicts, having difficult conversations, and addressing problems before they fester. Avoidance may feel safe, but it erodes trust and intimacy over time. Those who invest emotionally understand that short-term discomfort is the price of long-term fulfillment. They are willing to engage with honesty, vulnerability, and integrity because they recognize the greater reward that comes from authentic connection. The beauty of emotional investment is that it compounds over time. Small gestures of love, repeated consistently, accumulate into a reservoir of trust, intimacy, and security. Every moment spent listening, understanding, and supporting your partner builds a foundation that is unshakable even in the face of life's inevitable storms. The emotional wealth you cultivate in your relationship becomes a source of joy, resilience, and inspiration for both you and your partner. Let me close this keynote with a simple yet profound principle. Love is a garden, and emotional investment is the water, sunlight, and care that make it flourish. The more you invest, the more vibrant, resilient, and beautiful your relationship becomes. The rewards of love, trust, intimacy, joy, and connection are multiplied in direct proportion to the depth and consistency of your emotional engagement. So commit today to invest emotionally, generously, and intentionally. Speak with kindness, listen with empathy, and act with courage. Be present, be patient, and be persistent. The more you give of yourself in love, the more profound the rewards will be, not just in the relationship, but in your life, your happiness, and your capacity to grow as a human being. Remember, love is not a passive experience. It is a deliberate, conscious, and transformative investment. And those who invest wisely, who give deeply, and who engage wholeheartedly will discover that the rewards of love are limitless, multiplied, and everlasting. Ladies and gentlemen, let us explore a principle that is often misunderstood but is absolutely foundational to the success of any relationship: boundaries. Too often people think of boundaries as walls, barriers that separate, restrict, or distance us from one another. But true boundaries are not walls. They are the pillars upon which trust, respect, and harmony are built. Without boundaries, relationships drift into chaos, resentment festers, and love struggles to find its home. With boundaries, relationships thrive. They flourish with clarity, balance, and mutual respect. Boundaries begin with self-awareness. They are born when you understand your values, your limits, and your needs. To have effective boundaries, you must first ask yourself, what do I stand for? What am I willing to accept? And what am I not? Boundaries are not rigid or punitive. They are expressions of self-respect. They are the way you say to yourself and to your partner, I value myself and I value our relationship enough to ensure it is healthy, respectful, and balanced. Consider this. Relationships without boundaries are like ships without rudders. They drift aimlessly, guided only by circumstance or emotion, and are vulnerable to storms and collisions. Boundaries, on the other hand, give direction. They create structure. They define what is acceptable and what is not, what strengthens connection and what weakens it. They are not constraints, they are safeguards. They protect the heart while allowing it to love freely. They establish the conditions under which trust can grow and intimacy can deepen. One of the most critical aspects of boundaries is their role in establishing respect. When you clearly communicate your boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. You demonstrate that your feelings, your time, and your needs are valuable. And when your partner respects your boundaries, it reinforces a culture of mutual respect in the relationship. Respect is not earned through fear or obligation. It is cultivated through clarity, honesty, and consistency. Boundaries make this possible Boundaries also serve as a foundation for trust. Trust is fragile, easily broken by neglect, misunderstanding, or overreach. When boundaries are honored, trust is nurtured. Each time you respect your partner's limits and they respect yours, trust grows incrementally, solidifying the bond between you. Over time, these boundaries become a sanctuary, a space where both individuals feel safe to be vulnerable, to share their deepest thoughts, and to love without fear. Trust without boundaries is like a fragile vase. It can shatter with the slightest pressure. Boundaries give it the strength to endure. But boundaries are not just about saying no or preventing harm. They are also about saying yes to the right things. Boundaries define what behaviors, attitudes, and interactions contribute to the flourishing of the relationship. They create an environment where connection, communication, and intimacy can thrive. They clarify what is nurturing and what is harmful, and in doing so, they allow love to expand rather than contract under the weight of misunderstanding or neglect. Another essential truth about boundaries is that they are not static. They grow and evolve with the relationship. Just as individuals grow, so too must the boundaries that guide the relationship. Early in a partnership, boundaries might focus on basic respect, communication, and shared responsibilities. As the relationship matures, boundaries evolve to include deeper emotional, spiritual, and practical considerations. They adapt to challenges, life transitions, and the growth of each partner. Boundaries are living principles. They reflect the dynamic nature of love itself. Setting boundaries requires courage because it involves honesty and the potential for discomforts. You must communicate your limits clearly and respectfully, knowing that your partner may test, question, or even resist them, but that courage is precisely what strengthens the relationship. By being clear, you prevent misunderstandings. By being consistent, you establish reliability. By being respectful, you invite reciprocity. Boundaries are not walls, they are the scaffolding that supports trust, respect, and harmony. Boundaries also protect your energy and emotional well-being. It is easy to become consumed by the needs, emotions, and expectations of a partner if you have no limits. Without boundaries, you risk burnout, resentment, and emotional depletion. By setting healthy limits, you create space for your own growth, self-care, and reflection. In turn, this strengthens the relationship because you bring your best self, your calm, your focus, your love into every interaction. A relationship without boundaries drains energy. A relationship with boundaries amplifies it. Moreover, boundaries teach responsibility. When each person understands their limits and expectations, they are encouraged to take ownership of their behavior, choices, and emotions. Boundaries create accountability, fostering a culture where both partners act consciously rather than reactively. Responsibility, in turn, nurtures respect, and respect fosters harmony. It is a chain reaction, a sequence that transforms ordinary partnerships into extraordinary unions. Boundaries are also essential for emotional intimacy. Intimacy is not merely closeness, it is safe closeness. It is the ability to be vulnerable without fear of judgment, rejection, or manipulation. Boundaries create the safety in which intimacy can flourish. They signal that your partner's heart and yours are respected and protected. In this safe space, love becomes more than attraction or infatuation. It becomes a profound connection rooted in understanding, trust, and mutual care. Finally, let us remember that boundaries are gifts to yourself and to your partner. They are gifts because they clarify expectations, prevent misunderstandings, and protect the relationship from unnecessary conflict. They are gifts because they create a foundation upon which love, trust, and respect can grow. And they are gifts because they allow both partners to flourish individually while building a shared life together. A relationship without boundaries may survive, but a relationship with healthy boundaries will thrive and endure. So commit today to examine your own boundaries. Reflect on your values, your needs, and your limits. Communicate them clearly, consistently, and with love. Honor your partner's boundaries with the same care and respect. Recognize that boundaries are not restrictions. They are the framework of a healthy, thriving, and fulfilling relationship. Remember this truth. Love without boundaries is fragile, but love with boundaries is unshakable. It is guided by respect, strengthened by trust, and illuminated by harmony. Boundaries are not just principles, they are the architecture of lasting connection. They transform relationships from fragile arrangements into resilient, flourishing partnerships. And when you honor boundaries, both yours and your partner's, you create a relationship that is not only successful in love, but extraordinary in depth, joy, and fulfillment. Boundaries are the silent force that protects, nurtures, and elevates love, and those who embrace them will discover the true power of lasting connection. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now examine a principle that is often overlooked, yet is essential for the deepest, most enduring love, shared vision and purpose. Relationships are not sustained by mere attraction or fleeting emotions. They are sustained by a conscious alignment of hearts and minds, a mutual commitment to a direction, and a shared understanding of why the partnership exists. A relationship without vision is like a ship without a destination. It drifts aimlessly, vulnerable to every storm. But a relationship with a shared purpose becomes a powerful force, capable of navigating challenges, inspiring growth, and achieving extraordinary outcomes. Shared vision is more than a dream or a goal. It is a declaration of intent. It is the answer to the question, where are we going together and why does it matter? When two people align on their values, their priorities, and their aspirations, the relationship gains a clarity and energy that cannot be replicated by love alone. Vision provides direction. It guides decisions, informs actions, and ensures that both partners are moving in the same direction rather than at cross purposes. Without vision, even the deepest affection can become strained under the weight of confusion, disagreement, and unmet expectations. Purpose is the fuel that keeps the relationship alive when the initial excitement fades. Every relationship experiences seasons, times of joy and times of challenge, times of clarity and times of uncertainty. Without a shared purpose, it is easy for couples to lose sight of what matters most, to drift into complacency, or to allow external pressures to erode connection. Purpose acts like a magnet, drawing both partners back to a common center. It reminds them why they chose each other, why they invested emotionally, and why they are committed to making the relationship thrive. Consider the example of a couple building a life together. One partner may value personal growth, the other career success, and yet another family and home life. When vision and purpose are not discussed and aligned, tension emerges. Each individual may pursue their goals in isolation, creating distance rather than connection. But when vision and purpose are shared, when both partners understand and commit to supporting each other's dreams while working toward mutual goals, the relationship becomes a source of motivation, inspiration, and empowerment. It transforms from a union of two individuals into a partnership that is greater than the sum of its parts. Shared vision also fosters resilience in the face of adversity. Life is unpredictable, and every relationship will encounter challenges, financial pressures, health issues, misunderstandings, and disappointments. Without a clear purpose, these challenges can feel insurmountable, driving partners apart. But when a couple is anchored by a shared vision, they face difficulties with a sense of unity. Challenges are no longer obstacles to the relationship. They become tests of commitment, opportunities for growth, and opportunities to strengthen the bond. Purpose transforms trials into triumphs. Moreover, shared vision enhances communication and alignment. When partners have a common understanding of their goals and values, decisions become easier, priorities are clarified, and conflicts are reduced. Conversations shift from blame or misunderstanding to problem-solving and collaboration. Every action, choice, and discussion is evaluated in the context of the shared vision, which provides both guidance and cohesion. A relationship without this alignment is like building a house on shifting sand. A relationship with shared purpose is like constructing a home on solid rock. Another critical aspect is inspiration. A couple that shares a vision inspires not only each other but also those around them. Their unity and clarity radiate energy, influence, and motivation. Friends, family, and communities notice the strength, commitment, and intentionality of a partnership built on purpose. In this way, shared vision does not only benefit the relationship internally, it amplifies the positive impact the couple can have on the world. It elevates love from a personal experience to a life-transforming force. Shared vision and purpose are also deeply connected to personal growth. When you align with your partner on meaningful goals, you are challenged to grow yourself. Your dreams are elevated by the expectations, support, and energy of your partner. Conversely, your partner's growth is nurtured and celebrated by your commitment to the shared journey. In this way, purpose becomes a multiplier, magnifying individual growth while simultaneously strengthening the relationship. Love becomes a shared journey of continuous self-improvement, exploration, and achievement. Let us not forget the power of clarity in reducing conflict. Many disagreements in relationships arise not from malice or incompatibility, but from ambiguity and misaligned expectations. When couples articulate a shared vision and define a common purpose, they create a roadmap that minimizes misunderstanding. They know what matters most, which battles are worth fighting, and where compromise is acceptable. Bound by clarity, their energy is focused on growth rather than conflict. Vision, then, is not just inspirational, it is practical. It prevents small disagreements from becoming large divides. Purpose also fosters gratitude. When both partners are committed to a shared direction, they see the value in each other's contributions. They recognize that every act of support, sacrifice, or encouragement is part of a larger, meaningful journey. Gratitude flourishes in this environment because it is anchored not in fleeting moments, but in the recognition of a shared mission. Partners celebrate progress, honor effort, and cultivate appreciation for the journey they are on together. Finally, shared vision strengthens intimacy on a profound level. When two people are united in purpose, they feel a deeper connection than mere physical attraction or casual affection can provide. They experience a sense of belonging, alignment, and meaning that transcends surface-level interaction. Intimacy grows not just through touch or conversation, but through the awareness that you are building something meaningful together, a legacy of love, partnership, and shared achievement. So how do you cultivate shared vision and purpose? First, communicate openly about your values, priorities, and dreams. Listen actively to your partner, understand their goals, and explore ways to integrate them with yours. Second, define your shared mission. What do you want to create together, and why does it matter? Third, commit to supporting each other consistently, celebrating wins, and navigating challenges as a team. And finally, revisit your vision regularly, allowing it to evolve as you grow, change, and experience life together. Remember this truth: love alone cannot sustain a relationship. It is shared vision and purpose that provide direction, meaning, and resilience. When two hearts are aligned in a common mission, challenges become opportunities, growth becomes inevitable, and connection deepens beyond measure. Shared vision is the engine that drives long-lasting partnerships. It fuels commitment, strengthens intimacy, and magnifies the rewards of love. Commit today to clarify your vision, define your purpose, and align your journey with your partner. When you do, you will discover that love is not merely a fleeting emotion. It is a transformative force, a shared mission, and a journey of extraordinary fulfillment. Ladies and gentlemen, let us conclude this journey by exploring a principle so simple yet so profoundly transformative that it has the power to elevate every relationship, enrich every interaction, and deepen every connection. Gratitude. Too often in our pursuit of love, success, and connection, we focus on what is missing, what could be better, or what we hope to receive. But relationships thrive not on expectation, they thrive on recognition. They flourish not on entitlement, they flourish on appreciation. Gratitude is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the fuel that sustains love over the long haul. Consider this truth: every act of love, no matter how small, carries with it immense value. A smile, a word of encouragement, a shared moment of laughter, these are the threads that weave the fabric of a relationship. And yet, if these threads are not acknowledged, if they are taken for granted, the fabric weakens. Gratitude is the force that reinforces these threads. It is the acknowledgement of the effort, the intention, and the love that your partner brings into your life every day. Without it, even the strongest relationship can fray. With it, even the simplest gestures become powerful affirmations of connection. Appreciation is closely tied to gratitude. It is one thing to feel thankful internally. It is another to express that thanks outwardly. Appreciation communicates value. It tells your partner, I see you, I notice you, I recognize the effort you make, and I honor it. Words of appreciation, when offered sincerely and consistently, become a foundation for trust, intimacy, and emotional security. Appreciation transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. It turns routines into rituals of connection and reinforces the emotional bonds that sustain love. Gratitude also reshapes perspective. In every relationship, there will be challenges, misunderstandings, endings, and moments of frustration. It is easy to focus on shortcomings, conflicts, or unmet expectations, but when you cultivate gratitude, you shift your focus from scarcity to abundance, from what is lacking to what is present. You begin to see the countless ways your partner contributes to your life, the love that is offered consistently, and the shared moments that form the backbone of your connection. Gratitude transforms perspective, and perspective transforms the quality of your relationship. Moreover, gratitude is a multiplier. When you express genuine appreciation, it encourages reciprocity. Your partner feels valued, and in turn, they are more likely to offer kindness, attention, and love. This creates a positive feedback loop, a cycle of reinforcement that strengthens the relationship exponentially. Small acts of recognition, repeated consistently, accumulate over time into a deep reservoir of trust, warmth, and connection. Emotional wealth, like financial wealth, compounds. The more you invest in gratitude, the richer your relationship becomes. Let us also recognize the spiritual dimension of gratitude. When you appreciate your partner, you are not merely acknowledging their actions, you are affirming their worth, their humanity, and their presence in your life. Gratitude is a recognition that love is a gift, not a guarantee. It is an acknowledgement that relationships are precious, fragile, and deserving of care. In practicing gratitude, you cultivate humility, awareness, and reverence for the shared journey of love. These qualities, in turn, elevate the relationship from a transactional connection to a sacred partnership. Gratitude is also an antidote to complacency. In long-term relationships, it is easy to take your partner for granted, assuming that love will persist without effort. But relationships are living entities. They require attention, nurturing, and acknowledgement. Appreciation is the lifeblood that keeps them vibrant. When you actively recognize and celebrate your partner's contributions, you inject energy into the relationship, preventing stagnation, resentment, or disengagement. Gratitude keeps love alive. It nourishes the heart and sustains the connection. Consider the practical ways gratitude can be cultivated. It begins with observation. Pay attention to the small things your partner does, the effort to listen, the acts of service, the moments of patience, the expressions of affection. Take note, internally first, then express it outwardly. A simple thank you or I appreciate you can have a transformative effect when spoken sincerely. But appreciation is not limited to words. It can be shown through actions, gestures, or thoughtful acts that acknowledge the other person's value. It is consistency, sincerity, and mindfulness that make gratitude effective. Gratitude also fosters resilience. Life will test every relationship. Challenges, stress, and external pressures are inevitable. But a relationship grounded in gratitude is better equipped to endure. When both partners recognize and value the good that exists in their connection, they have a buffer against negativity. Appreciation provides perspective during difficult times. It reminds you of the foundation upon which your love is built and motivates you to work through challenges together rather than drifting apart. Gratitude turns obstacles into opportunities for deeper connection and growth. Furthermore, appreciation enhances emotional intimacy. When your partner feels truly seen, valued, and acknowledged, they are more likely to open their heart, share their thoughts, and express vulnerability. Gratitude communicates safety. It communicates that your partner matters, that their efforts are noticed, and that their presence enriches your life. Emotional intimacy thrives in this environment because it is nurtured by recognition, respect, and the constant affirmation that love is not only felt but celebrated. Gratitude is also transformative for the one who practices it. When you actively cultivate appreciation, you shift your mindset from entitlement to generosity, from expectation to acknowledgement, from self-focus to relational awareness. Your heart opens, your perspective expands, and your capacity to love deepens. In other words, gratitude not only strengthens relationships, it transforms you into the kind of partner who naturally fosters connection, trust, and fulfillment. Finally, let us recognize that gratitude is not occasional, it is habitual. A single act of appreciation is valuable, but a consistent practice of gratitude is revolutionary. Make it part of your daily life. Notice the contributions of your partner, express your recognition, and celebrate the small victories, the everyday acts of love, and the shared moments that define your journey together. Over time, this habit creates a culture of appreciation where love is nourished, connection is reinforced, and relationships flourish. So commit today to cultivate gratitude in your relationships. Notice the small things. Speak your appreciation aloud. Celebrate the efforts, the presence, and the love of your partner. Make gratitude a daily practice and watch as it transforms your relationship from ordinary to extraordinary. Gratitude is not a fleeting sentiment. It is the lifeblood of enduring love. It strengthens bonds, deepens connection, and multiplies the rewards of every shared moment. Remember this truth. Love is not sustained by passion alone. It is sustained by recognition, acknowledgement, and appreciation. Those who practice gratitude consistently do not merely maintain relationships, they elevate them. They turn everyday interactions into expressions of care, ordinary moments into memories, and simple presence into profound connection. Gratitude is the secret that unlocks the highest potential of love. Invest in it, practice it, live it, and your relationships will thrive in ways that surpass imagination. Gratitude is the force that binds hearts together, strengthens trust, and ensures that love not only survives but flourishes, endures, and becomes a source of joy and fulfillment for a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is one truth that underpins every successful relationship, it is this. Love is not static. Relationships are living, evolving entities, and they reflect the growth or the stagnation of the individuals within them. To experience love at its highest level, to cultivate a partnership that is vibrant, resilient, and deeply fulfilling, you must commit to continuous growth and self-improvement. Love, like life itself, rewards those who invest in themselves, who refine their character, and who seek to rise higher every single day. Consider this. The person you are today is not the same person you were a year ago, and the person you will be a year from now depends entirely on the choices you make today. The same is true for your relationships. A partnership reflects the quality of the individuals who comprise it. If you grow personally, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, you elevate the quality of the love you give and receive. If you stagnate, the relationship stagnates as well. Growth is not optional. It is essential for long-term fulfillment. Continuous growth begins with self-awareness. It is impossible to improve what you do not first understand. Take time to examine your habits, your patterns, your emotional responses, and your interactions with your partner. Ask yourself, where am I falling short? Where can I be more patient, more loving, more understanding? Which behaviors strengthen my relationship and which weaken it? This honest self-reflection is the foundation of personal development and by extension the foundation of stronger, deeper love. But self-awareness alone is not enough. Growth requires action. Knowledge without application is like a seed left unplanted. To elevate the quality of your love, you must actively practice the qualities you admire: empathy, patience, resilience, and integrity. When you deliberately cultivate these traits within yourself, they become part of your relational DNA. They guide your interactions, shape your responses, and create an environment in which love can thrive. One of the most powerful aspects of growth is the ability to expand your emotional capacity. Relationships demand emotional intelligence, the skill to understand your own emotions, regulate them effectively, and empathize with the emotions of your partner. Emotional intelligence is not fixed. It can be developed through intentional effort. When you grow in emotional awareness, your capacity to respond with understanding and compassion increases, and your relationship flourishes as a result. You no longer react impulsively or defensively. You respond thoughtfully, constructively, and lovingly. Continuous growth also involves learning from experience. Every disagreement, every challenge, every moment of tension in a relationship carries a lesson. Growth-minded individuals view difficulties not as failures, but as opportunities to refine themselves and elevate their partnership. They ask, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? How can I prevent similar challenges in the future? This mindset transforms obstacles into stepping stones, strengthening both the individual and the relationship. Another essential dimension of growth is the cultivation of personal purpose and vision. A relationship thrives when each partner pursues meaningful goals, dreams, and aspirations. Personal growth enhances your ability to contribute to shared goals, to support your partner, and to navigate life's challenges with clarity and confidence. When you grow, your relationship grows. When you evolve, your love evolves. A stagnant life produces stagnant love. A life of intentional improvement produces a love that is vibrant, resilient, and inspiring. Growth also requires humility. The journey of self-improvement is ongoing, and no one ever arrives perfectly. Those who seek to elevate their relationships must embrace the reality that mistakes will occur, that moments of failure will arise, and that learning is a lifelong process. Humility allows you to admit faults, to apologize sincerely, and to make meaningful change. It creates a culture of openness and trust. And the relationship where both partners feel safe to grow, evolve, and become their best selves. Consistency is another key principle. Growth is not a single event. It is a habit, a discipline, and a practice. Daily choices, repeated over time, determine the trajectory of your personal development and the quality of your relationships. Small acts of self-improvement, listening more attentively, practicing patience, expressing appreciation, nurturing your health, expanding your knowledge, compound over time. The effect is exponential, both on your character and on the love you cultivate. Let us also recognize the power of shared growth. When two partners commit to evolving together, their relationship enters a new dimension. Learning new skills, exploring new ideas, and supporting each other's personal development creates alignment, energy, and synergy. Growth becomes a shared journey, a mutual adventure, and the relationship itself becomes a catalyst for transformation. In this way, love is not just an experience. It is a laboratory for excellence, a training ground for character, and a source of continuous inspiration. Growth requires courage because it often demands change. Change can be uncomfortable, unsettling, and even painful, but the rewards of growth far outweigh the discomfort. When you confront your limitations, overcome your fears, and elevate your character, your relationship reaps the benefits. Challenges are met with resilience, conflicts are resolved with wisdom, and love is expressed with authenticity and power. Personal transformation fuels relational transformation. One of the most profound outcomes of continuous growth is gratitude. As you evolve, you gain perspective. You recognize the effort your partner invests, the love they offer, and the ways in which your shared life has enriched you. Growth deepens appreciation, and appreciation strengthens the bond of love. The cycle becomes self-reinforcing. Growth fosters gratitude. Gratitude fosters connection, and connection inspires further growth. Finally, let us remember that growth is a gift, not only to yourself, but to your partner and your relationship. By becoming a better person, you elevate the quality of love you give. You create a space where intimacy, trust, and mutual respect can flourish. You inspire your partner to rise as well, creating a relationship that is dynamic, resilient, and profoundly fulfilling. Continuous growth ensures that love does not stagnate, but instead evolves, deepens, and matures with every passing day. So commit today to the lifelong pursuit of self-improvement. Invest in your mind, your heart, and your character. Face your weaknesses, build your strengths, and cultivate habits that elevate both yourself and your relationship. Embrace the discomfort of change, the discipline of practice, and the courage of transformation. When you do, you will discover that love is not merely a feeling or an experience, it is a reflection of your highest self. Remember this, relationships are mirrors. They reflect the growth, the maturity, and the character of those within them. To elevate the quality of your love, you must first elevate yourself. Continuous growth, A. And self-improvement are not optional. They are essential. They are the vehicle by which ordinary relationships become extraordinary, by which fleeting love becomes enduring connection, and by which hearts transform into a partnership capable of facing life's challenges with resilience, joy, and fulfillment. Invest in yourself, commit to growth, and watch as the love you give, the love you receive, and the life you build together rise to heights you never thought possible. Growth is the engine. Love is the reward. And those who pursue it relentlessly will discover a relationship not merely sustained, but extraordinary, transformative, and everlasting.